What's up, YouTube? It's Tinysey, and welcome to my digital garden. Today, we're going to be diving into this new trend that I've been seeing on TikTok, and it is underconsumption core. And I just think this is so interesting, especially since for the past few years, we've been talking about overconsumption. And now this underconsumption trend is starting to become a thing. Once you dive into it, it's really just a bunch of normal things that everyone does, but it's becoming a core, an aesthetic. It's becoming a trend. So we're going to dive into that topic today. So let's get into the video.
This is my first ever closet tour.
First, let's talk about overconsumption and flexing, because this is honestly where it all began. What is flexing? Flexing is a slang term meaning to show off, whether it be your physique, your belongings, or some other thing you consider superior to others. The act of flexing is often criticized as a power move, considered arrogant and insincere. And we know all about flexing. It definitely started in Black culture with rappers flexing, even if we go back to like MTV Cribs, and mainly rappers showing off their house and the luxurious items that they have, and people eventually coveting these sorts of items as well. Eventually, it devolved into this thing that everyone took part in. The most popular celebrities that took this on that weren't necessarily part of Black culture were the Kardashians. They are one of the biggest flexers that I've heard of that are very popular in media, especially because of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This is one of the ways that they displayed their opulence and their just excessive amount of wealth and spending and just the lifestyle that they were afforded due to the money that they make. Their version of flexing wasn't as blatant as, say, a rapper, but nonetheless, I think it made it very popular. And like I always say, a lot of influencers end up following the Kardashians. Like they're just the blueprint, and then everyone follows suit. And so we see a lot of celebrities would post in the same way that I think the Kardashians would, and like posting their private jets, posting all of the designer bags they have. And this becomes more and more of a trend as the years go by. I think especially in 2014 and on, we saw people like Rice Gum. We saw people like Little Tay. She had just like this huge moment, probably around 2016, where she would essentially go viral for just being like, I have a super nice car and you don't.
Message to all y'all broke ass haters. Y'all ain't doing it like Lil Tay. This is why all y'all fucking haters hate me, bitch. This shit cost me $200,000. I'm only 9 years old. I ain't got no license, but I still drive this sports car, bitch. Your favorite rapper ain't even doing it like Lil Tay.
I think the shock factor was the fact that she was literally like, she looked like she was 10 years old. She was also feeding into that flex culture that was starting to rise in popularity. On YouTube especially, there was a huge flex culture. And honestly, there still is, people showing their hauls, people like Jeffree Star who would do like these house tours. And honestly, a lot of YouTubers that once they got to this certain level of height, they just had these super huge mansions that they would show on their YouTube channel. Anything that can just show that they're not a commoner. Anything to show that I am rich and I am afforded a different lifestyle than the regular person. And people eat it up every single time. They eat it up every single time. This act of flexing, I think, definitely started with Black culture, but really transformed to this thing that a lot more people do. If we think of more recent years, we still have people that flex. Like I said, it's transformed. Influencers like Nara Smith or Alex Earl, and they also are part of the flex culture. I think with Nara Smith, it might not be immediately, oh, she's flexing on us. But like when you really think about it, she's in this gorgeous, huge kitchen, cooking these meals with ingredients that most people like just don't have, can't afford. It's just the luxury of the time as well to even do that. She's wearing these gorgeous gowns. It's definitely a soft flex. And I say soft flex because a lot of the pull in her content is the fact that everything looks so luxurious. We know that when other influencers do the same type of content, but maybe it's in a regular house where they're wearing regular clothes and just doesn't have the same vibe, that it doesn't go as viral as Nara Smith does. And I think it's because, again, people eat up this type of content for whatever reason. People are drawn to a lifestyle that is just ridiculous, or even an aesthetic that looks like, wow, this person's rich. People have always been drawn to an opulent lifestyle or what the rich are doing. And so when you see someone showing that they are of a different status, of a different class, a lot of the times it draws people's attention. In recent times, we see these people like Nara Smith and Alex Earl just flexing their lifestyle, whether it's private jets, whether it's flying first class, or even something interesting that we saw was with Erewhon. And Erewhon is the most expensive grocery store. It's so absolutely expensive, and it was going viral in the past years because of the price of everything there. Like, they had ice that they were selling for $36. Not only that, but they had smoothies that were going viral because they create these smoothies after celebrities. So Hailey Bieber has an extremely popular smoothie. Winnie Harlow has a smoothie. But here's the gag. They cost like $19, $20. But then people keep going because it became a flex, especially since a lot of these influencers were going there and like getting food and just shopping there. It was just a way to show like, oh, I have money and I can, shop at this fancy grocery store. So influencers started to do this thing where they would also be flexing, even if it was just like food. Any possible way that somebody can flex, whatever you think it could possibly be, people have found a way to flex. And then another side of this that we've been seeing recently that I'm sure everyone has heard about is overconsumption TikTok. This is because people have it's almost like a shopping addiction, honestly. It might be walls full of makeup, walls full of shoes, clothes, whole rooms dedicated to items that they have purchased. Someone had a whole shower full of different scrubs and body washes. The part that gets really ridiculous is that that most of these products are not going to be able to be used, especially when it comes to skincare and makeup and body washes. These things do expire. I think that they're copying a lot of these celebrities and influencers in 2010s and 2014 and 2016. This was how a lot of YouTubers and celebrities would show off their wealth. They would go show you a closet tour. They would show you like all the shoes, the bags, the makeup.
I'm gonna give you guys a tour of my fridge. So you'll come into my pantry. I got rid of all my plastic, so it's all like glass jars. Even all my sprinkles and stuff from my frozen yogurt. Walk in. Refrigerator, where we keep all of our fresh organic produce. We are building on the property all organic trees to grow our own vegetables and do all of our own stuff. So this, all of our meals.
Oftentimes regular people try to emulate this, even if it's not to the same scale. They still might have a wall full of makeup, drawers full of makeup, and it's just them trying to emulate a lifestyle that they see celebrities and the other rich people are living. Now we get into the emergence of this commoner core or this underconsumption core that's starting to become a trend on TikTok. We've been seeing on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube this rise in relatability content and authenticity content. And largely what this is people that are just a lot more natural, a lot more real on the internet. We've been so used to the Mr. Beasts. We've been so used to these people that are super polished. And I think that people are moving away from that. They like to see things that are more relatable, more authentic, and believable. Because when we see these celebrities like the Kardashians largely and all these influencers that just are spending copious amounts of money on things that most people will never be able to experience. It's not relatable to the common person. Now we see a rise in influencers that are a bit more relatable, a little bit more raw. And I think that a lot of people enjoy this type of content. And when Emma Chamberlain was rising in fame, it was also because of her relatability factor and the fact that she was so authentic.
Let me show you something sad. Emma's rise of fame was the perfect timing. A few years before TikTok blew up and when Instagram was still overly perfect and fake.
Nope.
Her relatability was a breath of fresh air. No girl on the internet at the time was showing up in a third day unwashed messy bun, seemingly not give a crap about acne, burping and farting to the camera.
I also have gas.
And that is why 6 million people will watch a 12-minute long video called "You Totally Caught Me Making Soup."
I saw English green peas.
On TikTok, we see this with people showing like a regular apartment, a regular meal, just these things that make you more human. And something really interesting that I saw was like mothers making meals for their children. So it might be like mother of 3 making food for their kids. This type of content does well. It does get a little bit of hate because maybe they're using like frozen foods or they're using canned foods, things that might not be super healthy. But in the end of the day, if we compare this mother to someone like Nara Smith, it's super relatable. This is what mothers that don't have the money that a mother like Nara Smith might have are feeding their children. They can't make Cinnamon Toast Crunch from scratch. They want to see a normal person living a normal life just like they are so they can feel good about themselves. And I think that's a good trend. With this underconsumption trend or underconsumption core, it's people showing just normal things in their lives that they have or that they do, using their lotion all the way down, like cutting it, making sure that they completely use it. And it's weird because it's like, these are normal things. Most people are doing this. We have to make it a core. We have to make it a trend, even though I feel as though most people are living this life. Most people are using their lotion till the end. Most people are buying things that they're going to use. Most people don't buy 20 different Stanley cups, but social media has made it that people think that a lot of people are actually living this aesthetic life that they try to portray on social media. The reality is that a lot of us are living very normal lives. That just shows how far away from reality we've gotten, that we have to make it a trend in order for people to feel like it's okay to even show their normal life. On the flip side, I understand that this is just what social media has brought us to. Up until now, most people were only showing the good parts of their lives. They didn't show when they were down or when they were crying. Relatability content is definitely rising, but up until now, people hide the bad parts of their lives. And that also was a factor into why people started to feel bad about their own lives, or why they would want to partake in overconsumption to sort of fill the void, to fill the hole. Like, maybe if I can buy this thing, even if I can't afford it, maybe if I get the $19 Erewhon smoothie, I'll get a taste of that happiness that I think this influencer or celebrity is experiencing. In the end of the day, a lot of people are living a life just like yours than you would think. Thankfully, we're finally kind of over that period. I definitely think we will always like luxury, but I feel like we're moving into a time where that doesn't mean that we have to do it in an overconsumption way. We don't need a room full of bags and shoes. And I think we're finally realizing that. Another video I saw under this underconsumption trend was luxury underconsumption core. And so essentially she buys luxury items, but she consumes it ethically. So maybe she has one designer purse and two designer purses and like 2 designer shoes that she uses. You could still enjoy these luxury items, but you don't need room full. You don't need drawers full. You don't need walls full of these items. You can just buy what you actually can reasonably use. And so I don't think overconsumption is going to stop, but we're going to start to normalize the everyday things that we all do. So we don't have to feel ashamed or feel like we have to hide things, like we have to imitate celebrities or influencers when that's just not the life that we're living. And unfortunately, it has to be a core, it has to be an aesthetic, because I think the younger generation has this problem where things have to be a movement or a trend or a core in order for them to get on board. I'm not going to generalize because some people are just living in their truth. They're off social media. They're like totally not concerned. Another big chunk, they do look to social media before they make movements. Is it an aesthetic? Is it a core? And then they're more willing to actually take part because we see it with like, oh, office siren, like a girly fairy core and like all these things that they have, which back in my day, not to age myself, but back in my day, like there weren't that many aesthetics. It's like you might be goth, you might be preppy. It's probably like 10 categories. Now there's 50 categories. I think it's because the younger generation needs these cores and these groups and these boxes to feel more comfortable in themselves. It could be because they grew up on the internet and now this is just how they find themselves in a world where everything is on display. And so it's harder for them to be individual. It's harder for them to be themselves. They kind of look to social media before they move. And so it makes sense why underconsumption has to be a core, because then maybe they'll feel more comfortable to behave in this way. But I don't think that's all of them. Like I said, some people just do what they do. They're off social media. They're living their lives and they don't need a movement in order to live their life. That's just an observation that I've seen.
You're getting all hung up on imaginary problems. You gotta focus on what's real, man. You see this cup? This is literally my favorite cup. Huh. Now it's gone forever, so it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
Oh no, my favorite window!
So all in all, I think that we do need to move in this direction where we normalize regular life and the regular things that most people are doing. I don't think flexing is done because some people's lives are just luxurious and maybe they're not even trying to flex. It's just their life. So if they go on vacation, they eat nice food, they wear nice clothes. That's just the life that they live. But I also think that people that have normal lives shouldn't feel like they can't post their lives or they can't post the regular things that they do because it's not aesthetic enough or it's not cool enough. And relatability and authentic content is definitely on the rise. People are searching for it. People want it. There's space for it and people want to see it. And this is because 54% of Americans identify as part of the middle class, 15% say they're upper middle class, and 31% consider themselves working class, and 12% consider themselves lower class. A majority of Americans are living a regular life. They're not on private jets. They are not buying the Louis Vuittons and all the expensive stuff. Most people are shopping at Target, shopping at Walmart, shopping at a humble grocery store. Social media will make you feel bad about your life and feel like you need to emulate the things that you're seeing. But honestly, we're good. We're good where we're at. There's still going to be opulent displays of life, but that doesn't mean we have to copy it. We could still feel proud about the life we live and normalize a more regular lifestyle as well. But what do you guys think about that trend? Are you happy to see it? Do you think that it's going to continue? What are your thoughts? If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Please comment a sun emoji if you've made it this far. I definitely see your comments. I appreciate your guys' comments. And thank you to all the new people that are part of the digital garden. I see you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next YouTube video.